Welcome to the Coachzing Show, offering you the latest creative content marketing tips to help you work less, earn more, and help more people. Are you a coach zinger yet? Join the community where the world's best coaches, therapists, authors, and speakers come to discover the latest industry trends and partner with other like-minded professionals. Go to coachzing.com/community to join. And now, here's your host, Doug Foresta.
Hello and welcome back to the Coachzing Show. This is your host, Doug Foresta. And of course, this is a show with you, coaches, therapists, speakers, and authors to work less, earn more, and help more people through creative content marketing. My guest today, backed by popular demand, is Randy Pennington. And we're going to be talking about how to drive connection through content. And I know you'll get a lot out of this episode. We're going to cover several different things and several different ideas about how that's working for Randy right now in his business. And I know you'll get a lot out of this and some great takeaways for your own business. So stay tuned. I'll say a little bit about Randy and bring him right back on. Randy Pennington helps leaders develop positive results in a world of accelerating change. He's a 25-year business performance veteran, author, and consultant who has worked with many of this country's best-known companies as well as government agencies at the local, state, and national level. Additionally, he serves as adjunct instructor in the Cox Business Leadership Center at Southern Methodist University. He's the author of the books Results Rule, which received the 2007 Best Books Award from the USA Books, and On My Honor I Will, which Ross Perot described as having cracked the code of great leadership. He is also, his book, Make Change Work, received the 2013 Best Book Awards for General Business from USA Book News. And you can learn more about him at penningtongroup.com. That's PENNINGTON group.com. And of course, we'll put that link on the show page. Randy Pennington, thank you for joining me on the Coachzing Show.
Oh, pleasure, Doug. It's great. Always great to be back.
Thank you so much. And so let's talk about this idea of, one of the question about sort of what's working for you right now in your business in terms of content. It sounds like you have some exciting things happening. So you share that with us.
Well, and we do, Doug. Thank you. But probably the premise behind everything, behind this idea of using content to drive connection, is that ideas drive everything. It really all starts with the idea. And as opposed to it starts with the blog or it starts with the article or it starts with the podcast. Really, it all begins with the idea. What is it that you're trying to communicate to an audience that you want to engage and listen and you want to listen to your ideas? And so once you start thinking of it as the idea drives everything, then how many different ways can you leverage an idea? And the blog and the podcast and the traditional media articles and the traditional media interviews and all those things really becomes spokes on the wheel of a delivery mechanism. And it may be probably one of the only really smart things that I ever said about to a group of speakers a few years back, because I told a group of speakers, calling yourself a speaker is like calling yourself a Coke machine.
Right.
Because it's just a delivery system. And would you rather be the Coke machine or would you rather be the Coke?
Yeah. I love what you're saying because I feel that way about podcasting. People go, wow, you must be really passionate about podcasting. And I say, well, not exactly. They go, what do you mean? Right. And exactly that. I'm like, well, podcasting is a vehicle. It's like saying, if somebody's gone all over the country or gone all over the world, you must be really passionate about airplanes, right? Well, maybe not. The airplane is sort of how you get there, but not necessarily. So I love what you're saying that if we get too caught up in I'm a blogger, well, what does that mean, right?
Right. And so, once it's there, and when you say that about airplanes, I have somewhere around 4.5 million miles on American Airlines at this point. And somebody says, you must love traveling. No, I pretty much hate it at this point. It's what I put up with to be able to get to the point of doing what I want to do with my clients, whether it's a coaching session or consulting engagement or a speaking engagement or whatever that might be. So once we did that, so there's a couple of interesting things that we're doing now that we're having some success with. And in fact, there's 3 that I want to mention. One is we've gone beyond using my initial blog, my own individual blog, which we still put out weekly, but now we've expanded that to we're also blogging on more visible places like the Huffington Post. It took a while, but I actually got something published with Fast Company on their blog, on their internet site. But Huffington Post, starting now, I'm there almost every week in the business section with something. And the good news is about them is they don't require exclusivity on the content.
So you can use that in other places.
I can take it and I can use it on my own blog and then put it there as well. And that to me is, again, it's starting to, how many different ways can you leverage an idea with your use content and then leverage that into all the different places that are out there. Now, Fast Company did require that they wanted the exclusive rights to that article. But that doesn't mean I can't take nuggets of that content and use it someplace else, which I just did, or I'm just doing this week with the Huffington Post. So the idea of being able to expand your presence beyond just your own blog, having that Huffington Post logo on there, I had somebody picked it up last week and tweeted my blog out to all their folks. A business picked it up, and they picked it up from the Huffington Post. So anytime that I think we can expand our content to a different vehicle that gets us more eyeballs, then that certainly helps. The second idea is, I don't know, and this may be old hat to you, and it probably is to all of your listeners. It was to me, it was like, wow, I didn't know that. But someone told me about 2 weeks ago, you can post your articles directly on LinkedIn as opposed to just sending the link to your post to your followers or to the people you're connected to on LinkedIn. And I was like, what? And they said, yeah, you just go in, you post it on there. And then if it starts getting more eyeballs, people start engaging with it, then LinkedIn will actually post it out to everybody on LinkedIn that's interested in that topic. So for me, I do a lot with change and organizational change. I put something on there, it gets some traction. And instead of just going to my network of people on LinkedIn might send it out to everybody who's got an interest in business on LinkedIn. So again, it's the same piece of content. It's just thinking about how do we use that content to connect with people a little differently.
And actually, I just want to interject just to say that is a relatively new thing. So I don't know that everyone really knows that. It's only recently that LinkedIn has allowed that we can use LinkedIn as a blogging platform. So it is relatively new.
Well, and that makes me feel a lot better, Doug, that I didn't know about it. But I mean, to me, I think it's just it's a no-brainer for all of us that use content to showcase our expertise. Because really what we're trying to do is get eyeballs and get people who are passionate. And the more eyeballs we get, then the more credibility it builds, the more opportunity for business that it brings. I mean, it's all those things that we know. And so I would encourage everyone to, if you're not doing that, start doing that.
Yeah, thank you.
And then the third idea is one that I've been doing now for about 10 months. And it is an idea that it works for us. I think it could work for a number of people with similar interests and in a similar profession, is that I do something now, I participate in something now called the 5 Friends blog. Now, the 5 Friends are 5 of us who are all authors and speakers and consultants, and I'll tell you who they are. It's, I'm sort of like the low person on this, out of this group, but it's Larry Winget, who many people know from Fox News, and his Mark Sanborn, The Fred Factor, Joe Calloway, who wrote his last book, I think is just brilliant, and that's Be the Best at What Matters Most. He also wrote a really classic branding book called Becoming a Category of One, and a guy named Scott McCain, who I think may have been on the show as well. Scott wrote the book Create Distinction. And so the 5 of us, we all happen to be friends, and we're emailing each other usually several times a day about something. Most of it's, things that, everything from what's happening in the airport to here's an idea to, what'd you have for dinner last night? And I drank some really good bourbon. How about you? But what we decided is let's take these conversations that we have and clean them up a little bit and send them out. So every other week, we do something called the Five Friends blog. In fact, as we were recording this, one just went out today, and we called it Lessons from My Dog. And all of us happen to be dog lovers, and so we each wrote, real short 200 words on what are the lessons that my dog teaches me or reminds me of every day. And we take a different thing, a different idea every 2 weeks, 200 words. We created a platform for that. And, of course, we promote it to our own social media, but we also have it out on our own little WordPress blog page that, shows everybody and links to everybody. And it's kind of a way, it's a fun thing for us to do, but it's also a way that we can all cross-promote each other.
I was going to say that's really brilliant. And, not every one of us can have access to those people. We all can, we all have people who come together and use our combined, I think part of the takeaway there, what you're saying is, it's like the Huffington Post is, don't just hide your content on your own. We don't have to just do it ourselves. We can put our content in other places. Like, let LinkedIn help you, let Huffington Post help you, let your friends help you, and help each other.
Well, and the idea is, and you're exactly right. And for instance, the Five Friends only works because we're friends.
Right.
It only works because we have fun with it. We play with each other. We contradict each other from time to time. And somebody will say something and somebody else will write, despite what they told you before, here's what I think on it. And the beauty of it is in the diversity of the ideas around a piece of content. So it really does help. And because we all cross-promote it across our social media lines, then all of a sudden, Larry Wingate gets followers from me, and I get followers from Mark Sanborn, and Sanborn gets followers from Scott McCain. And so that's sort of the way it works. And we all have our own little niches. And we're just, the one thing I would tell you if you're going to do that is you have to be okay that, you're not always going to be the first on the list. We rotate that every time. Some people are going to get more connection out of it 1 week or 1 month, and you may get more the next month. And, you have to be okay with sharing that information and just realize that over the long term, it pays off.
Right. So it sounds like you're saying, you have to really come from a place of service and not worrying about like what's in it for you in any particular post. You're going to benefit overall.
And if somebody else gets a speaking engagement from it and I don't, then you can't take your toys and go home. You have to stay with it.
I wonder as you say that about the thing I was thinking about is coming back a second to, I know you said it starts with the idea and then all of this flows out of there. Do you think that, I'm curious about, as a, whatever we're going to call ourselves, right, if we're going to be a thought leader in some way, do you think that, as I think about all those people that you shared, all your friends, and we've had Larry on the show, for example, and I can think about, like, what each one of them stands for. They may have written a lot of books or they put out a lot of content, but I could probably distill down their central point of view to one thing. I'm curious if you think that, do we need to have that sort of, find that one thing?
I think we do. And I can tell you in my career, if there is one thing that I regret, it's I didn't zero in on my one stake in the ground soon enough. I had someone who was very well known from a thought leadership perspective in the area of sales and service tell me a number of years back, he said, Randy, your problem is that about the time the marketplace figures out where you are, you've had another new idea and you're off to something else. And he said the marketplace can't keep up with where you are, and so they never know where to find you. And I think that for those of us who tend to have a wide spectrum of interest and expertise. The challenge is how do we funnel that into one thing that people go, I know that Larry Winget is all about personal responsibility. I know Mark Sanborn is all about leadership.
Right.
I know Scott McCain is all about distinction. And I'll tell you that my career has gone to a different level over the last 7 or 8 years when people have said Randy Pennington is all about helping organizations drive change and deliver results.
Right. Because then they can wrap their minds around what that one thing is.
Right.
Yeah.
And then and from that, then everything else and the hard part and the hard part for people to grasp, and it was for me to grasp for a long time, is that within those boundaries, there's a great deal of freedom.
Yes.
And it doesn't box you in. In many cases, it gives you even more freedom. So, I mean, if you think of it like, if you listen to improvisational jazz or arena rock, it works. This example works both ways. When they go off on those wild solos, the soloist goes everywhere, but there's certain things that don't change, and that's the key and the beat and everything else. That provides the boundary, in which case there's a lot of freedom to explore.
Someone once said it to me this way. It was interesting. They said it's like the Starbucks thing. It's like, what if Starbucks one thing is coffee, but when you walk in there, they sell you everything under. Coffee is only one part of what they sell, but their one thing is coffee.
And you're exactly right. I mean, they're known for coffee. If you ask people, Starbucks, it's coffee. And you know what? I sell some of my clients some things that we don't market, but they come to me and say, can you help me with this? And the answer is, if I can do it, sure I can. And if I can't, I refer them to someone who can. And then part of this is I always look for ways to go back to my network of friends and supporters that we're all helping each other.
I think there's just some brilliant takeaways in here. And, anyone, and like you said, you're like, oh, people might know about LinkedIn, but here's the thing. Are you doing it? And I mean, I'll be fully honest. I'm like, I'm not doing it. I know about it. I'm not doing it. So it's a good, even for those of us that do know about it, it's good for us to say, well, wait a minute. Am I actually doing this?
Right. That's why, I mean, don't you hate that?
I know that. Well, are you doing it? No.
It's one of the big things that all of us, again, I struggle with it every day, is I have way more good intention than I do discipline to get them done.
Well, please, since we were talking about the one thing and all that, can you actually please tell our listeners a bit about how you help people or how you help organizations and how they can reach you? Sure.
You can reach me via my website, www.penningtongroup.com. And what I help organizations and leaders within those organizations do is build great cultures and drive change to deliver results. Now, within that, there's everything from keynote speaking to seminars to consulting to, assessments to everything. But everything is focused around how do we help organizations change from where they are to where they need to be and build a culture that can support that.
Randy Pennington, thank you for coming back to the Coachzing Show and sharing your words of wisdom. I greatly appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Doug. It's always fun to come back, and I hope we can do it again.
Absolutely. I look forward to continuing the conversation.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, and thanks everyone for listening. We'll be back Monday through Friday with more great guests, helping you to work less, earn more, and help more people through content marketing. Till next time, this is Doug Foresta at the Coachzing Show.
Thanks for listening to the Coachzing Show. Need help getting your book out of your head and onto paper? Need help marketing your books or speaking engagements? We can do it for you. Go to Coachzing.com to learn more. Are you a coach singer yet? Join the Coach Singers community where the world's best coaches, therapists, authors, and speakers meet. You'll get exclusive access to private mastermind calls where you can get instant marketing help from industry experts. Plus, we'll help you forge deals and partnerships with other like-minded professionals. Go to Coachzing.com/community to join now.